looking at solving one variable equations involving fractions. So let's get started with the first one. But before we do that, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button to get alerts for every time we upload a video. Here is a one variable equation. In this equation, x is the variable, and it is the value that we want to solve for. This equation also has three different terms, and each one of these terms is a fraction. So let's solve this equation. The first step is to use parentheses wherever we can. We can put parentheses around 2x plus 1, 1 minus 4x, and 3x plus 7. These parentheses tell us that we should treat whatever is inside the parentheses as a single unit and keep it together. Now, we want to get rid of these fractions. So let's find the least common multiple, or the LCM of these denominators. In other words, we need to find the LCM of 4, 2, and 6. Well, the LCM of 4, 2, and 6 is 12. Now that we know the LCM, let's multiply it to the entire equation to get rid of these fractions. And remember to use your parentheses. As you can see, I multiplied 12 to this entire equation, and I used parentheses. These parentheses tell us that 12 is being multiplied to the entire equation. Now, let's use the distributive property and distribute 12 to each one of these three terms. Here, I distributed 12 to each term, and I use parentheses around each term. Again, these parentheses tell us that 12 is being multiplied with the entire term. Now, let's cross out and divide anything that we can. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. And finally, 6 goes into 12 2 times. Now, let's multiply everything and rewrite it. 3 times 2x plus 1 minus 6 times 1 minus 4x is equal to 2 times 3x plus 7. Next, let's distribute everything inside the parentheses. 3 times 2x is 6x plus 3 times 1 is 3. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. and negative 6 times negative 4x is positive 24x. This is equal to 2 times 3x, which is 6x, plus 2 times 7, which is 14. Now, let's simplify the left side of this equation. 6x plus 24x is 30x, and 3 minus 6 is negative 3. This is equal to 6x plus 14. Now remember, in order to solve this equation, we need to find the value of x. So we need to keep x alone on one side of the equal sign. So let's bring these two variable terms to one side of the equal sign and take the constants to the other side. To do that, let's bring 6x to the left side of the equation. 30x minus 6x minus 3 is equal to 14. Now, let's bring negative 3 to the other side of the equal sign. 30x minus 6x is equal to 14 plus 3. Now, we can simplify both sides of the equal sign. 30x minus 6x is 24x, and 14 plus 3 is 17. Finally, let's take 24 to the other side of the equation. This gives us a solution of x is equal to 17 over 24. Now let's look at a second example. Here's another equation. Again, in this equation, x is the variable. And there are three different terms. All of these terms are fractions. So let's solve this equation. The first step to solving this equation is by putting parentheses wherever we can. So let's do that. We can put parentheses around x minus 6, 2x minus 1, and x minus 1, which tells us that we should treat whatever is inside the parentheses as a single unit. Now, to get rid of these fractions, let's find the least common multiple, or the LCM, of 5, 10, and 2. Well, in this case, since 5 and 2 are both factors of 10, the LCM of these three numbers is just 10. So let's multiply the LCM to the entire equation. I used parentheses that shows 10 is being multiplied with the entire equation. Now let's distribute 10 to each term. Remember to use parentheses around each term. That tells us 10 is being multiplied with the entire term itself. Now let's divide anything that we can. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 10 goes into 10 1 time. and 2 goes into 10 5 times. Now, let's multiply and rewrite this. 2 times x minus 6 minus 1 times 2x minus 1 is equal to 5 times x minus 1. Now, let's use the distributive property and distribute everything inside the parentheses. This gives us 2x minus 12 minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 5. Next, we can simplify the left side of the equation. On the left side of the equation, the variable terms would cancel each other out because 2x minus 2x is 0. Then we are left with the constants. Negative 12 plus 1, which is negative 11. And this is equal to 5x minus 5. Now, let's bring negative 5 to this side of the equation. So negative 11 plus 5 is equal to 5x. Negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6, which is equal to 5x. And finally, to get x alone and find the value of x, let's bring 5 to this side of the equation. So the solution is x is equal to negative 6 over 5. Now let's look at another example. Here is yet another equation. X is the variable. And this equation has 3 terms, where each of these terms is a fraction. So let's solve this equation. Remember, the first step is to use parentheses. For this equation, we can place parentheses around x plus 1 and 2x minus 3, which tells us that we should consider whatever is inside the parentheses as a single unit. Now, let's find the LCM of these 3 denominators. In other words, let's find the LCM of 3, 6, and 2. In this case, 3 and 2 are both factors of 6. So the LCM is simply 6. Now that we know the LCM, let's multiply it with the entire equation. And as you can see, I used parentheses to show that. Now, let's multiply 6 to each one of these terms. Again, I use parentheses around each one of these 3 terms. Next, let's cross out and divide anything that we can. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 6 goes into 6 1 time. and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So let's multiply everything out. 2 times x plus 1 minus 1 times x, which is simply minus x, is equal to 3 times 2x minus 3. Now, let's distribute everything inside the parentheses. 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 1 is 2 minus x is equal to 3 times 2x, or 6x, and 3 times negative 3, which is negative 9. Now, let's simplify the left side of this equation. 2x minus x is x, plus 2 is equal to 6x minus 9. Now, let's bring these variables to one side of the equation and take the constants to the other side of the equation. So, I can bring 6x to this side of the equation, where it will become negative 6x. And I can take positive 2 to this side of the equation, where it will become negative 2. Now, let's simplify both sides of the equation. X minus 6x is negative 5x, which is equal to negative 9 minus 2, or negative 11. Now, let's bring negative 5 to this side of the equation. So, x is equal to negative 11 over negative 5. Now, we can cancel out these negative signs, which gives us a solution of x is equal to 11 over 5. Now let's look at a final example. Here's another equation. In this equation, x is the variable. There are 3 terms, and each one of these terms is a fraction. Now, let's solve this equation to find the value of x. So, let's use parentheses wherever we can. We can place parentheses around x plus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 4. Next, we want to get rid of these fractions to make it a little easier to solve. So let's find the LCM, or the least common multiple. In this case, 3 and 6 are both factors of 12. So the least common multiple, or the LCM, is just 12. So let's multiply 12 to this entire equation. And remember to use parentheses. Next, let's distribute 12 to each one of these 3 terms. Remember to use parentheses around each term. Now, let's cross out and divide anything that we can. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 6 goes into 12 2 times. And finally, 12 goes into 12 1 time. So now let's multiply everything out. 4 times x plus 1 minus 2 times x minus 2 is equal to 1 times x plus 4. Next, let's distribute everything. This gives us 4x plus 4 minus 2x plus 4, which is equal to x plus 4. Now, let's simplify the left side of this equation. 4x minus 2x is 2x, and 4 plus 4 is 8. This is equal to x plus 4. Now, let's bring the variables to one side and the constants to the other. So we can start by bringing x to this side of the equation. 2x plus 8 minus x is equal to 4. Now, let's take 8 to this side of the equation. That gives us 2x minus x is equal to 4 minus 8. Now, we can simplify both sides of the equation. 2x minus x is x, and 4 minus 8 is negative 4. So, the solution to this equation is x is equal to negative 4.